And a little music. Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends with Tim Kearney, Jarrod West, Darryl Prue. Hosted by me, WolfMan.
Dale, no video, no picture. No video, no picture.
What are you saying?
Destined for greatness. My name is written in stars. I will give everything, all that I have to the cause. Fight against evil, run through the pain, battle it all, this is more than a game. I am a lion and I can't be tamed, it's how it was made, there's ice in my veins, run through it all. No matter the odds, I will answer the call. The enemy knocks on the door. Even the greatest among us will fall, but the greatest will get back up. So I won't back down, and I won't give up, and I will act now, and I will stand up. They know that I'm here for it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Parmar store. From gas to grocery snacks and everything else you always seem to run out of, Parmar Stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Parmar Stores, and remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Wilson Martino Dental. Did you know that 95% of our dentists have graduated from WVU? And many former players and WVU coaches trust Wilson Martino Dental with their oral health. The Mountaineers and Wilson Martino Dental. Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, and yeah, we do that as well. Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends Pregame. We got Oklahoma State Cowboys are in town. I have Darryl Prue, Tim Kearney, and Jarrod West, our legends tonight. I am Dale Wolfley. I'm the WolfMan, and I will be the host here as we go through, as we've been doing for most of the season since we started up Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends, and really fired up. Hey, guys, we're on a winless streak of 3 games. People are down. You're all been athletes, and I'm going to start with you, Tim Kearney, and I'm going to say, hey, man, what do you do when you're in a bad streak? What do you do when you're in a shell? And your best is needed for the finish line.
Well, first of all, coming into our house, and anytime when I played there, I'm sure Darryl and Jarrod played there. You know, you come into our place, you know, no one gets out of there easy, and they just got to, you know, tighten it down and get some more support off the bench, because the last game, like we discussed earlier, there was no support off the bench. So, I mean, the guys have got to just, you know, tighten it up and just play some hard-nosed basketball, like playing out in the playgrounds.
Jay West, brother, what are you saying?
Oh, it's a tough one. That's tough, especially losing the game. You know, one thing if you lose to Kansas, TCU, Kansas State at home, to lose that game the other day at home, that's a tough one. That's a gut punch. And what it really did is put us behind the 8 ball, because now we definitely have to win everything at home and then maybe steal one on the road and then maybe get 1 or 2 in the conference. So I say all that to say our leaders have to step up. You know, there's some dissension going on internally on the team. There's some quotes that's being said that probably didn't go over very well. You know, this is when you see what type of true leadership you have throughout from top to bottom, coach, players, managers. I mean, everybody has to buy in, be completely bought in, and got to take care of business, especially at home. Like Tim said, it's a home game. We let one slip away the other day, but we definitely got to get this. But it comes down to leadership. We've been talking about it all year. This team, I think, is void of some leadership, and the better players have to step up. And if not, then guys off the bench have to do it. But that was a tough one to lose the other day, and I think it might come back to bite us.
Yeah. Okay. So Tim Kearney says, "Hey, it's home guard support." You're saying it's leadership. Jay West, how do you want to add to that? Because you guys are right on it. I can tell you, I mean, that's in any really what you're talking about, but especially the Mountaineers when it was a home sellout crowd and it was a desperate game. DP.
Well, it's a little bit of all that. It's you can't have dissension and not expect it to show. You can't have your leadership or your coaches, not, they say they have your back, but then say other things in public. You know what I mean? You can't lose a coach in the middle of the year and expect to, win these kind of games at the end of the year. I think sometimes with us older coaches, we want to do things that we did in the past to keep it going. You keep some of that, but you got to add some new stuff too. I don't think, in this team right here, I don't know. I think they checked out. The seniors checked out. Some of the seniors checked. I'm not saying all. Some of the seniors checked out, and then, you just don't get a good vibe watching them play the last game.
That's not a bad take on it. And what I want to put up here right now for you guys, and I want you to see this here. These are the stats, man. If you look at the stats and you're going to see Eric Stevenson, scoring 27 points, and you're going to see Kearney scoring 20 points, but there's nothing else in between 5 and 20. There's nothing there for you to look at and see that with this Mountaineer team. And then, of course, you go ahead and you look at the other guys, and gosh dang, man, what's his name went off. He went off on 27 points. You just had Pops came back with his 15. IMAC came back with 14. He didn't play the last game. All these guys, once again, now they usually average 4 guys in double figures in scoring, and they did that again on Saturday. So let's go with you, Jay West. What did you see with that? The shooting, the scoring. What was your take?
Well, our buddy, Emmett has played the last 2 games before that. He played great, in my opinion. And you look at the stats, he can't go 2 for 6 and only have 4 points. Mitchell can't go 1 for 6 and only have 3 points. That's not a winning formula. Bell 0 for 1 point. And the shot disparity. You got Stevenson with 21 shots, Kearney with 13 shots. Nobody else had more than 6 shots. So, Eric got going early, and he carried us, and we were loving him when he was carrying us. Then late in the game, when he missed his last 4 or 5, now everybody's piling on him. You can't have it both ways. You can't love him when he's carrying you and then pile on him late. He shot the same shots. Actually, the shots that he shot late were wide open. He just happened to miss them. So I think once again that goes back to leadership, point guard play on the floor. Kearney's been playing great, but once again Mitchell and Emmett, those guys are too important. You can't have your 3 front court guys having 8 points in a win or go home game, desperation game at home, especially when 2 of those guys, all those guys are seniors. And so, once again, when you run an emotion type offense and it's equal opportunity, sometimes you got to call a set and get a ball to a guy and say, hey, go get a bucket. That's how I coach, but I don't know, who knows, but that's my spiel.
No, very good. Okay, so Kearney, man, this is what you're talking about, points in the paint. You have Texas Tech rolling in here, and they had IMAC in there. They had their big guy in there who had the 12 points, but they had 42 points in the paint. They out-rebounded the Mountaineers, I think, by 11. Okay, so 39-28. What's your take? That's in our house.
Well, I see Darryl over there throwing his hands up in the air because I know he wants to say something.
Well, we're going to let him talk all about it. What's your point of view?
But like I said, I mean, it's all talking about, you know, the movement and sharing of the ball. You know, hit the open man, let him shoot, get some. You know, we had no bench strength whatsoever for this game. So you know, that's what I saw. I mean, you had a couple guys just wanting to do one-on-one with you know, 5 guys, and that doesn't work. It doesn't play well.
You know, when you look at this, DP, and you see this, and I'm not going to change this. I'm going to let you answer what you want to answer. But you know, you look at the season stats. You really have to look at the last 3 games and see what's gone on with this team. Because if you look back to this Oklahoma State game so much, it's a little bit of a different of a team.
I mean, we were better than we were when we played early in the year. When we played Oklahoma State, and plus it was a road game. It was a couple of points off. We got Eric Stevenson got the tech. They only got 1 point out of it, but I think he fouled out the game, so it kind of messes up at the end of the game. Mitchell had a good game, but like for Mitchell and Matthews not to show up, did Matthews play the last 10 minutes or the last 8 minutes of the game? Because I thought he was hurt. You know, he threw the ball out of, he took the ball out of bounds, and the guy wasn't looking at him. Like, who was he supposed to throw it to then? You know, he was the only one down there. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, he was supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, you can't blame him if the guy's not looking. He's talking to the coach, but he's the only person. You got 5 seconds. You know what I mean? So, but then it's just like, as Jarrod said, they got a free flowing offense. I wish I played in a free flowing offense because I'd figure out a way to score.
Right.
I would figure out a way to score. I don't have to. I get the ball. I'm gonna figure out a way to score, and and your forwards are not giving you nothing. We've been saying this for the longest, and it's like there's no accountability for those two because you got to keep one of them in the game at all times, and if because they can score, but they're not scoring. You know what I mean? So like, what do you do? There's no accountability for Mitchell playing soft. There's no accountability for Matthews for playing soft. We've been praising Matthews lately after been getting on him all year. Then he went back to being Matthews again. Mitchell was very disappointing. We talked about on here behind the scenes. We wish Trey Mitchell would give us more than 16. Can he give us 25 win game? You know what I mean? Like, it's like it's frustrating because they have more talent. You know what I mean? They have a lot of talent, but the talent they're not like they don't want to play. That's what they look like. They just out there. They don't know. I don't know if they want to play. I don't know if they want to win. I don't know if they want to just they don't want to score. So I don't know what they want to do.
Well, let's see what Bob Huggins has to say because I don't know if he's real sure.
Jarrod wanted to say something.
No, I didn't see it, Jarrod. All right, sorry, buddy.
Real quick, 15 seconds. The only thing that's frustrating to me, like, we used to be Press Virginia. We used to, like, what is our identity as a team? Like, what do we hold our hats on? Hugs used to be defense, offensive rebounding, pound the paint. What's our identity? And when you don't know or have an identity, it's hard to win. So that's all I want to say.
No, you're totally right.
I'll add on one thing to what Jarrod said. We got to start playing like a goddamn German Shepherd instead of like a little French poodle out there.
Right.
Play like, go after it.
Which once again that's what Hugs' DNA is to be bulldogs. And we don't what's our we don't have that. That's my only issue. I don't know what we hold our hats on. Well,
you've been saying that all year, and not just you, but everybody that's come on this show has said all year long, what's our identity? And no one has answered that question yet, at least to me, in a clear definition.
Right. I don't think we know.
Yeah.
Well, I know we don't know, and it shows.
Evidently, the man don't know either.
Right. Evidently, here we go. Thanks for the lead in.
All we got to do is take care of the ball, run good offense. They wanted to play zone. That crew wanted to play zone. So we switched to the 2-3 zone, and it didn't work. Then we go to the free throw line. We got guys just stand there and watch the ball. Never went to rebound it. I don't have an explanation for that. As long as I've done this, I don't have an explanation of why you would stand there and not rebound and miss. Overs, and we had a fifth-year guy throw the ball out of bounds. Can you explain that?
And there it is. I don't know what's going on there. You got 2 fifth-year guys. I don't care if one's only been at Iowa for 4 years and only here for a year, but I don't think that it really matters. And I'm going to go to you, Tim. Do you think it matters what it is? Why are these guys that are not rebounding? They're not connecting. I mean, I really do think, and I know, DP, you just said you're not sure if they really want to play. Obviously, they want to play because they want to be there. But I think what you're saying is the level of how they want to play. But he said, I don't know. I don't know. Do you got an answer?
If you're asking me, I don't know either, because it's not people paying attention to what they're out on the floor for. They have the pass thrown in bounds to a guard who turns his head and starts walking on the court. Who in the hell else are they going to throw the damn ball to? There's nobody else back there. I mean, I don't understand that. That's just lack of attention and to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and playing a game. Makes no sense to me.
They're just like me. I'm the forward, and Jarrod West is the point guard. I take the ball out court. I take the ball out of bounds, and Jarrod just starts walking on the court. Don't look at me, like right. You know what I mean? Like that don't make sense on both ends. You know what I mean? So I don't. It's crazy.
Back in the days when I played, it was if the other team scored, I was usually passed the ball in because I was under the basket. If it went in the basket, I was taking it out as quick as could be, give it to the guard. They don't do that anymore. You have all the big guys running down the court because I don't know if they're out of shape or not, but it is whoever's close to the damn ball, throw it in bounds, and you have somebody ready that's going to catch it.
Let me ask you this. I'll go to you, Jarrod, for this. Let me check this out. Have you noticed anything in the substitutions, anything different since, I was just saying, Larry Harrison's left? Have you noticed anything or not, truthfully?
To be honest with you, it's like I don't know who the leader is over there because there's no rhyme or reason to some substitutions. Some people have a quick hook. Some people have a long hook. Some people play in certain instances. Sometimes they don't. Wilson has been a consistent shooter, but sometimes he won't touch the floor. Toussaint one game didn't play the whole second half. There's no rhyme or reason to what's going on. The question you asked previously about one thing I didn't like about Huggs' quote, and I mean, as a coach, I don't really care what my guys on the bench want to do. Like, are we a zone team or are we a man-to-man team? What's our identity? We're a man-to-man pressure team, so why are we running zone? Once again, back to our leadership. Toussaint, I'm not plugging on him again. Most important thing as a point guard is assist to turnover ratio. Why are you looking at the bench? You need to get the ball in your hands and then look to the bench to get the play. Just little things, but that goes back to chemistry, dissension, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's not bought in, and there's a disconnect. You can't come in and say the guys on the floor wanted to play zone. I don't care what they wanted to play. What's our identity? We're a man-to-man. I don't like stuff like that. That's no accountability from top to bottom.
Okay, well, let's hear what Huggs has to say here. This is not. I'm just looking at this. I'm trying to figure out what he's saying here, and you guys tell me.
Eric just said he didn't feel the energy was there for whatever reason. Did you agree? Have the same energy level you needed?
He shot it 21 times. He had to have some energy.
He meant team-wise, not.
Oh, it was okay for him to go 9 for 21, though. Please.
All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and show this with Stevenson. But, what do you guys think about that? He scored 27 points. He was almost 50%. He's probably like 46% at the three-point line. Obviously, he did miss some of that stream of shots. But that's if you have this guy as your team, who do you got?
So,
I mean, this is your guy.
I'm trying to be politically correct on this one because
go for it.
I don't mind guys missing shots. That's two different subjects. He said we didn't have enough energy at the end of the game. We ain't talking about missing shots.
Right.
You bring up his stats, but he didn't want to keep you in the game the whole game with that shooting. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, so which one do you want? I mean, like, don't avoid the answer. Don't avoid the question. You know what I mean? He just missed a shot at the end. I mean, then, he'll miss something, he'll make something. That's what he does. You know what I mean? But, he said energy. Evidently, he was talking about other people too. So like, because you know what?
Let me stop you there.
It goes back to the coach.
Could it be that he's like, Eric Stevenson is tough enough as a fifth-year guy, and he's my leader because he claimed to be the leader before the losing streak? Is that he's tough enough that I could direct my anger towards the team through him? Is that the vehicle? We've seen that done before.
No, I just think it's a situation where you ain't had the right people in to play with that energy. Where was the right people? Like, where was Where was, Matthews ain't played that much in the second half. Where was Wilson? You need a,
if Matthews threw the ball out of bounds to a guy who's not looking.
Well, whose fault is it? Is the guy not looking who's supposed to get the ball, or is it his fault?
Well,
like, which one is it? Because
I would think eye contact would be important between the two of them.
Right. If he didn't throw the ball in, it would have been a 5-second call. So they've definitely been on him because, like I said, if I'm the man taking the ball out of bounds and Jarrod West is the point guard and everybody else is down court and Jarrod West is not looking at me and Jarrod West is supposed to be looking at me getting the ball, how is the ball going to get in bounds?
Jarrod West, answer that question. Is it both fault or is it one?
Like I said before, point guard's responsibility, go get the ball. Once you get the ball, I can look at the bench and get as many plays as I want to and walk the ball up the court. I can't not have the ball and look at the bench like Prue said. 5 seconds, like that. That's the most important thing on the floor is the basketball. So you got to get the ball first in your hands and then get the play.
Jarrod, I mean, you're not the only one. They all the players, the other four have to be looking too. If they're tied up, you're tied up, or whatever, they got to be making a break and making a cut to get to the ball.
Exactly. It was no press.
They got their heads turned.
No, it was no press. They got down court. That's what they're supposed to do. Is get down court, get it to the guard, let's get into the offense quickly. They can't get into the offense. The point guard ain't got the ball.
And he was 25 feet away from him.
Right.
Like, go get the ball.
All right. Okay, so you're going to side with Darryl on that, and I'm going to say okay. I think it's both of them, both not paying attention is what I saw. That's what I got. Not being on the same page. Tim, you go ahead. Give me your quick response to that.
In reference to what? No one looking to try to help get the ball?
Yeah. I just want to know what's your thought. When you see that happen, Bob Huggins doesn't have an answer, so do you?
Yeah, run to get the damn ball. I mean,
okay, that's all I'm trying to get at. I'm just trying to.
All 5 players have to see it, or 4 players on the court to get the ball to them. I mean,
it was no pressure. It was no press. It was nobody down there but the point guard. So the point guard need to be. All he had to do is turn around and get the ball. It was we can't put it on the other players because they did their job. Whoever was supposed to take the ball out took the ball out. Whoever was supposed to get the ball didn't get the ball, and everybody else was supposed to get down to their positions. The other team was was beyond half court. We couldn't even see them. You know what I mean? Like that's just non-communication, not caring enough, and something's going on.
It's a team game. Y'all, you throw the ball in bounds. You make sure the ball gets to bounds. Everything's safe. Then you go down and set up.
Well, I'm going to go with Darryl. You won your argument over me. Okay, because I think the point guard should get it. Although I will say is that you're true. One thing, it points to the broader picture. I think is what I was trying to really get at, is that 2 fifth-year senior guys were not even connecting on an inbounds pass. Right when the heat was on, they weren't losing. They weren't getting bombed.
You know what?
They were in the middle of the game.
I'm going to say this. There's a lot of chatter comes from the bench every time the other team scores. There's a lot of chatter. It's from Hugs and everybody on the bench. So when everybody gets down court, everybody always looking to the bench. You know what I mean? It's a lot of chatter. So it's like it's no flow. You know what I mean? Like it's like Toussaint looking over there, like Jarrod said, to try to get the play instead of getting the ball first, then get the play. You know what I mean? Okay. It's just a lot going on.
Yep, a lot going on. I get you there. And let's look at someone that is playing his butt off. And I put this in here. He's got 20 points. He's done it quite a few times this season. He is a leader. He's not perfect. He took the last shot for the three-pointer against Oklahoma State. Missed it, but the dude's got a ton of heart. That, of course, is Kedrian Johnson. And just go ahead, Jarrod. I'm going to go with you going guard to guard. What are you seeing from him? He plays his heart out. Doesn't always score. Doesn't always do the right things. But, man, he really does give great effort.
I'm a big Keedy guy. Like I said, my role is very similar to his on the team defensive-wise, spark plug. But what he's done this year from an offensive standpoint, he's been probably our most consistent player in Big 12 play. He's bumped his points up. He's been a consistent double-figure guy. And if you look at the percentages, might not be the greatest percentages, but he takes and makes tough shots. What I like about him is he has the broad enough shoulders to take those shots. He's leading by example. He's playing 35 plus minutes, and his effort, his energy, his attitude has always been good. I like him a lot. He's playing way. If you'd have come to the season asking about Keedy Johnson, he's giving you way more than what we anticipated. Now we just need the other guys to kind of step up.
All right, then Cardi, go ahead and give me your take on that. And I wanted you to include your take in this. What's the leadership is he giving? What type of leadership is Keedy giving? The right leadership about what he's supposed to, or do we need more?
I think, and I agree with Jarrod too. I think he's just in the last 3 games, he's really starting to step it up. I mean, you see a lot more positive things coming out of Kearney. But I think he's going to be a key part for tonight. Like I said, I like his progression. I mean, I think we all were hoping for, him to step it up at the first part of the season, but it was all about all these new guys getting involved and, getting into the system. And I think Adrian is really starting to step it up right now. And I'm positive about, his last few games here as far as what he's been playing. Hopefully he keeps it up.
All right. DP, do you have anything you want to finish up with this before we move on here?
I think how long has Keedy been there? This is what, third year?
Maybe third or fourth.
That's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference. You know what I mean? All these other guys are new. You can't lead guys who don't want to be led.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, sometimes you got to do it by your play, and he's been doing it. You know what I mean? He's been, we said about 6 games ago, is this becoming a guards team? And he was the reason why I said it. It was that stretch where he had 20, he had 20 plus points. Then all of a sudden Stevenson started stepping up. And the last game, who was it? It was Stevenson and Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, it's only so much you can do. If the other guys don't want to follow on a boat, on a boat or whatever you call it, the trailer, them guys are not doing it. It's like, I don't know how much more he can do. I don't know how much more he can do, because I think he's been doing a hell of a job. I think he's been consistent all year, trying to figure out his role at the beginning of the year. He figured it out. Then he saw a spot where he needed to score more. Then he started scoring more. Then when other guys started scoring, he kind of took a step back. I think he's been a leader without saying a whole lot of stuff. Especially,
he's a good teammate, right?
Totally agree. Yes,
Totally
and he
agree.
competes at a high level. Competes at a high level every night.
He doesn't cheat the game at all.
Yep,
he's not cheating the game at all.
If I can add something into that, I really think that Okuna, I screw up his name every time.
Okwarko, yeah.
And Wagyu Muhammad. I think those two coming off the bench. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Bell, if he's checked out or whatever, but for a guy his size, he really needs to have more dominance inside.
Well, leading right into that. Go ahead. These are your young guys. Is it time to play? We talked a little bit about last time. Is it really getting time for our youngins here to jump in? Okwanko, Wagi, you're talking about Seth Wilson. You're also talking about Sumanik, who played 2 games against Oklahoma and against Baylor. Did a fine job, did a little inspirational stuff in there on defense, and he saw 4 minutes. Go ahead. Let's go DP. You started us out.
I mean, like, there's no consistency on how you're going to play or when you're going to play. So some guys are waiting to play to get upset. You know what I mean? I've never been a bench player before, but I'm sure that's what's going through their mind. It's just like, is it time for them to play? It's been time. They should have been playing all year, honestly. We don't have that many players. You know what I mean? The young ones are all on the bench. And, if guys are not playing, you got to step the other guys up. I didn't see much at the end of the game. What's the other guy's name again?
You got Wagi, you got Sumanik, you got Josiah Harris.
Sumanik played well, and Josiah had some good minutes a couple games before, and they're barely playing. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, where's the consistency? There's no consistency in rotations. There's no consistency in the players. So there's a lot going on that's not being talked about.
Jarrod West, let me ask you, how do you go ahead, and I guess it goes back to what I was talking about with the substitutions and play. When do you give up on the big guys, the old guys, and start going in? Or is it still you're just trying to find the right combination?
Well, my thing is this here. I'm looking at Bell, and I know, not that we pile on him, but I've had several conversations, and everybody I talk to around here, the first thing they say is, Bell is. We got to sit him. We got to do this. I'm looking at the guys on the floor for 14 minutes. He's 0 for 1. So I don't know if Bell is good or bad because when he's on the floor, are we using him? Are we giving him a touch? Like Prue said several times, to get him engaged. Are we letting him set good ball screens so he can roll? So to answer that, if we're not going to involve him in the offense, then we need to put him on the bench. If he's going to be on the floor, get him some touches. If he's not, obviously Sumnick, Wagyu, Okwango, all those guys are way more athletic, so they're going to affect the game more if you don't run a play for them, about just rim running and jumping. So I mean that's the decision that the coaches are going to have to make. If Bell is on the floor, if I'm the coach, I'm going to him the first 2 possessions of every game and get him to see if he's hungry, see if we get him engaged. He's going to rebound more. He's going to set better screens. I'm going to have a very good idea after the first 2 touches if he's going to impact the game in a positive way. If he doesn't, then I get my rotations at the 15-minute mark, and I can start bringing in Wagyu and Sumnick and those kids. If he's going to be on the floor, use him. If not, just put him to the bench. That's not even coaching one-on-one. That's easy.
No,
I mean, the Chicago Bulls used to give Bill Cartwright the first two possessions of every game, and he might not touch it the rest of the game. They had Michael Jordan. I mean, if he's on the floor, let's get him to touch it. He can't play 14 minutes at 6'11" and be 0 for 1.
Well,
in my opinion.
Jarrod, and that's the biggest thing is I don't think this offense is ever really try to pound the ball inside. And they got a big man in there. Like you said, pound it in for the first couple minutes, open things up on the outside. This offense has not done that.
Which goes back to what's our identity.
Yeah.
Because the last 4 years when we had Oscar and DC, and I go back to Sags. I mean, Hugs has always pounded the paint and offensive rebound. Now we're not doing so. What's our identity?
No, even those guys would bust their ass to get open, and the guards weren't throwing it into them. So, I mean, you know what? If I'm going to spend that much energy, posting up and trying to get the ball, and you don't throw it into me, I mean, what am I going to do?
Facts.
Great points. All right, DP, finish up on this team before we get going to Oklahoma State. What the Mountaineers need to do to be victorious?
Dale, I sent you a text in the middle of the game, and they took Bell out. His whole body language was done. I said he checked out. I said he's checked out. He's not in it. You know what I mean? And usually he's pretty much into it. And just like Jarrod said, like, he got to get. If you're gonna have a big man, I don't know how well he scored before he got here, but like, what do you got him for? Because he's not a shot blocker. You know what I mean? He's I don't know what he does on offense. You know what I mean? So it's like, why have him? Okay, then you have Wagyu and O'Connor will come off the bench. They are shot blockers. They got a lot of energy. They can guard wings. They give you a whole lot of effort, but you don't throw them the ball. And the other guy's not doing that because he don't get the ball. You know what I mean? So like, what do you do? He a senior. You got these other 2 guys that's gonna be here for a while. You know what I mean? Like, but like we said the last game, I was like, Toussaint has a good rapport with on that pick and roll. He throws it up in the air. You know what I mean? Now they scouted it, and so now they are playing the lob. So now everything has to change. They have to become a basketball player. I don't know what we're doing on offense because it just looks like we're playing in the 1980s. The offensive set's a 1980s offensive set. You know what I mean? So we got to get better at it.
That was my year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's a pretty good job and pretty good summation. Although when I look at this, when I look at these stats for Texas Tech, WVU shot 44%. You round up, and Texas Tech shot 47%. Then for three-pointer, WVU shot 39% and a 78% for the free throw. They did get out rebounded, and they had 2 more turnovers, and they had 4 less steals. But we're talking about this team because it's been losing the last 3 games, but they were actually in the fight. And why is it such a heavy loss when they're still playing and competing? I guess Texas game, you could say they were worn out a bit, but they're still playing and at times playing very well. Let's go, Jay West. Go ahead.
Well, the most important thing out of what you said is, that was a desperate game for us. We're 8th, 9th in the conference, and we're playing at home. You can't afford to lose a home game this late down the stretch of the season. especially when you're on the bubble and you're competing for your NCAA tournament life, and especially when you're playing against another team that's on the bubble. Like that, like I said, if that had been Kansas or one of the big dogs in the conference, you can swallow that pill a little better. But to lose and the way we lost at home, that was a gut punch. And those losses like that, if you don't have the proper leadership, and if we don't get out tonight, losses like that can linger a little bit. So it's going to be very, very important the first 8 to 10 minutes of this game tonight to see where guys' heads are. I'm hoping and praying that Stevenson didn't, get in his feels and listen to what things that were said. He has to come out and play well tonight, as well as Emmett and Trey, because Keedy can't continue to do it on his own. But that was a big loss for us. Huge loss.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go ahead. Let's do the separation. Let's do the switch. So it's time for our sponsors for Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends. Of course, you have to start off with Parmar Stores. And Parmar Stores, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be one shortly. They are team captain also of the Polar Plunge for Special Olympics West Virginia this Saturday, February 25th. Dockside Grill, Cheat Lake. Make sure I get all of this in here. Team WolfMan, you got Country Roads Trust. Yes, all those guys coming up there. You have Arson Grange, Switch to Hemp, Just the Dip. You got Wilson Martino, Bobby Martino. Yes, and of course, you have Danny Kemba. Show up the world. All out going for Special Olympics West Virginia. You know what? Stationers champions. We love all of you and the support that you give to Special Olympics West Virginia and the support that you give to Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends Pregame. We love you for that, and all of you should love them as well. All right, boys, it's time. It is time to go to Oklahoma State Cowboys. And when I looked it up and I'm saying, okay, so what did they do last game? And I'm looking at it, and let me get this up here, Jay West, not you. Okay, we go right there. What do you guys see here the most? What do you take for this season? Where are they at? How good are they in the Big 12? Tim Carney, let's go with you, man. Let's start out.
Well, I mean, the last game, obviously, they did. I mean, they spread out the scoring quite a bit more than what we did. I mean, their guards really, did a lot for them. And we're going up against the same team we went up against with Texas Tech and some of the other ones with these guards. And we have to make sure that from a penetration standpoint, we can stop them. And they've got some very athletic big guys too. I mean, I was watching from the last game that Oklahoma State played, and I mean, these guys are very agile, and they're always looking. Their guards are looking to pump it inside to them. I mean, they do a lot of back screening, and they do a lot of picking to get these guys open. There were a whole hell of a lot of dunks in that game. But like I said, they're very quick and agile, and we just got to keep up with them.
I sure do. Let's go, DP. What do you think about it, man? Oklahoma State, what's your take? I'm going to put up these stats here for the last game that you see here, the stats. And what do you see? I see a big difference in the points in the paint. I think it's West Virginia had 14 there. And, of course, when you're shooting, it's still – I think, Timmy, you brought that up. The shooting was 36% from the field, and you only scored 14 points in the paint. That's tough to win, and they were still in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was still in the game. It's like the points in the paint could be drives too. So the guards was getting into the paint. The big would help. They'd throw it over the top. That's why it was a lot of dunks. The big will help the guard because the guard, he turned the corner. There was a lot of pick and roll action, and I think we went to a matchup at one point in the second half that helped us out with that to just let them screens go into the guards, and the roll guy goes into the bigs. And I think that's going to have to happen, again tonight. The two big guys are very physical. Mitchell was hitting some jump shots from the outside, but this, we cannot stop being what we are because we're playing a team that's probably more physical than us down there that can score, and they throw it to their big guys. They give them chances. So it's, we were a couple shots away from winning that game. We got a tech at the end. But the tech, to me was, 1 point, but, Stevenson's fouled out. Then we had trouble scoring, but Mitchell let a guy drive from the corner. He didn't even give no resistance. Just let him drive in the corner and get a layup. So we just got to play. You got to get gritty. When it's time to get gritty, we don't get gritty. And we need some guys to get gritty, and some guys are not getting gritty.
All right. Jay West, what do you got to say about when you look at the guards? It's a 3-guard team. They go 2 forwards. You look at number 1, Bryce Thompson. He's averaging, 12 points a game. You look at L. Esbury, number 5. He's, 8 points a game. And 51, Wright, big guy. He's a big guy, 51. Who wears 51 as a guard? I want to know that. But you look at 10 points a game.
Luka Doncic.
Then you got the big guys there. And of course, Boone, number 22, is very, very active. So you have an extremely, as Tim said, this whole team is like just athletes, man. And I don't know if they actually have their own identity as well. I think sometimes that's why they struggle as well.
Right. Well, they obviously they have the 2 guards who can shoot the 3 for them. Thompson is a catch and shoot guy. We got to have our hands high on the catch. But Boone is he's their pulse. When he plays well, they do well. He's athletic. He's a lob catcher. I wouldn't say he's the most skilled, but he's athletic. And if he's having a night where he's making some shots, he can be tough. The first game we played him, Cisse, I think, got hurt, so he didn't play much.
Right.
So we probably got to we're going to see him a lot more tonight, which he's a shot blocker. He's a lob catcher. And both teams are probably going to be a little different. Keedy was 0 for 8 that night against them. I think he struggled against them that night. And now he's been playing a lot better. So both teams have kind of morphed or changed a little bit. But with Oklahoma State, you got to deal with their athletes, their athleticism. Say protecting the paint. But Cisse and Boone, when they play well and on the offensive glass and they protect the paint, they're a tough bunch to deal with. And then you got to run those guards off the 3-point line because if they can catch and shoot, then you have some problems. And I wouldn't say they're as desperate as us, but when you lose by 25 the game before, they're on high alert. They got smacked the last game by 25. I think they've lost their last 2. So they're going to come in here a little hungrier. And, they probably had a rough few days of practice. Anytime you lose by 25, you've had a rough few days of practice. They know WVU lost at home the other day, so they're thinking we got an opportunity. And Oklahoma State, we I wouldn't say struggle, but we kind of struggle with them, with their athleticism. So it'll be a very, very important game tonight. But Boone and Cisse are the keys to that team, in my opinion.
All right, then, Tim, let me put this on you, brother. Let's say this. So Boone, and I believe what George said all the way, and you got 15 fouls as we determined last week. But you got Wagi in there, you got Jimmy Bell, you got Oquanko, you got some big guys there that you get 15 fouls with. You just try to shut these guys down and pound them all game. Be physical with them so that they're at least not taken away from you, because if they're the guys that make the team go as the pulse, I'm like, Bill Belichick and then with the Patriots, man, take away the best thing that they do and let number 2 or 3 or the third option beat you if they're going to.
Well, back in the days when I played, Phil started the whole thing, and he would just foul the hell out of everybody and scare the crap out of them. But you're playing in your house. And this whole, you brought it up to Jarrod about some of these guys getting tired or whatever. And, I'm sorry. I played in some big games at West Virginia. UNLV, when we beat them on national TV, I played 39 minutes, and I wasn't tired at all because you're playing in our house. You do what you have to do to get the job done. And that's what these guys got to step up to. And it's not what I'm seeing. I'm not sure, Darryl and Jarrod, if that makes sense, but you know how it is as far as playing in front of the crowd there in the Coliseum. But these guys just need to get a set of and just play the damn game.
I'll tell you what, Tim, Emmett and Matthews wouldn't have liked me as their point guard. Because listen, Brent Solheim can tell you, Gordon Malone can tell you, Damian Owens can tell you, I'm 5'10", but guess what? When I hopped on your butt, and I've never been in a fight in my life, Prue, never been in a fight in my life. But guess what? When you're in between those lines, as a point guard, when I hopped on your butt, you knew I was like Emmett and Trey. They needed a point guard they need someone to light a fire to get them going, because sometimes they just play so lackadaisical and lifeless, and it's like, come on, buddy, y'all are seniors, And that's one thing I will give hugs. Like, if you're looking at 5th-year seniors and they're playing like that, I can see how that can be frustrating. And you might have to go with Big O and those guys a little earlier because we're desperate. We don't have time to wait for that. I didn't mean to cut you off, Prue. I'm sorry. Go ahead. But I just wanted to tell you. Listen,
I get it. I get it because, like, when Chris Brooks came in, it was me and Tyrone Shaw. Oh, we picked on his ass. We were going to make sure we was going to keep him where we kept him at. He was a high flyer, so we blocked his dunk before he got in the air and all that good stuff. But, it's like this is a game where O and Waguga play together. The other kid and Bell, I don't think Mitchell and Matthews can play together with the physicality of Boone. You know what I mean? If Boone's coming in there and playing, the way he can play, we got to play them other guys and just be physical with those two guys and maybe move Mitchell to the 3 or Matthews to the 2. You got to change it up a little bit. I just think, it's one of those games where you just got to give people chances.
Wilson's not that big, is he? I mean, I know he's 6'9", but he's not physical-wise. He's not that big, is he? He's only about 100 pounds.
Who?
Boone?
Boone is physical. He posts up. That's where he scores. He hit the big shot against us when like a minute left.
He's 200 pounds, Boone.
Yeah, he plays physical though. He gets in there. He plays more physical than those two guys put together. You know what I mean? So the shot he made, that was a tough shot. He backed in, and he turned over and shot a left-hand jump hook over Wagoo. That was pretty impressive. It was some distance on that
10
shot.
10 to 12 feet.
Yeah, it was some distance on this shot. But he didn't score that much all game, but he scored when it counted. You know what I mean? When they needed it. And that was one of the plays at the end of the game.
Bony-ass elbows. That's what I used to use. I was about the same size, really. No, you use them.
Yeah,
well, okay, so let me ask you this.
Matthews is 160.
Listen, I had a whole ton of video to use tonight, but I want to get to this one thing about what they did do against the Mountaineers the last time they played, and I want you to watch this because they had their way in the paint and they were drives. But I just got 4 plays of the replay in there, and I just want you to tell me what they could do to get better for this time. Seeing what you're seeing, and go ahead, free to speak. It's not just you, DP. If anyone wants to jump in, I can rewind any tape here. But that to me just seems so simple, so basic.
That was Bell's fault. He caught in the middle. He didn't help. He's not on his man. He's right in the middle. So what happens? He let the guy penetrate. He gets in the lane. He throws it up right here.
Okay, no, but wait a second. So if he's in the middle, he's in the island. I can deal with these turns, man. So if you're in the middle of the road, you know what I mean? You're not right, you're not left, you're really nothing.
Right. You're just like if you're walking down the middle of the street, you can go to either side of the street. So all they did was throw the ball over his head. If he just stayed back over his man, he probably would have got a layup. If he stayed on his man, if he would have hedged more, he probably would have got more help from the backside. But he didn't. He just stayed. He just stood there. Right here, he should have hedged out. He just stayed in the middle, like he's going to block the shot, and he just threw it up. And
the backside guard can help a little bit too if he bumps the road, man.
No, the guard who was guarding him? I can't see it.
It don't matter. It's a dribble handoff. So a dribble handoff, you either got to go under. You got to go under.
Is guarding that. I understand. That Bell's trying to help out, but still,
he's not helping. That's the point, Tim. He's just standing in the middle. He's not up or back. He's standing in the middle. So on a dribble handoff, you either got to go under and meet him on the other side, or you got to try to blow it up. And I think the scouting report was to blow it up because they had shooters that stepped behind. So I think he tried to blow it up, and the guy turned the corner. And the next one is I think this is the one where Toussaint went under 5 people. You know what I mean? It's like this is Bell actually played it well. Went back to his man, and
actually,
went under 5 people.
Bell picked off Toussaint.
No, he didn't. No, he went to look. Watch Toussaint.
No, I'm just saying, Bell he pretty much picked off Toussaint.
Toussaint didn't run to his man. He ran
under.
Yeah, he ran under. He's not supposed to go under that low.
Yeah.
So he's not supposed to go under Jimmy Bell. That's what you're saying.
Right here, he should have stepped in front of Jimmy Bell.
Okay, so that's another thing that you're talking about. Again, I wanted to show here because you guys know, but these are 5th-year guys. They should know.
That was just bad defense.
That was.
Once again, I don't want to keep going back to what's our identity. Back in the day, WVU is known for 2 or 3 years ago. You come off a ball screen with WVU, you're inviting a trap, and we're blitzing it hard, and the next 2 people are shooting the gap, and we're trying to put pressure. You just saw 3 instances where they ran ball screen, and the big is in no man's land. Like Prue said, he's not blitzing it, he's not in drop coverage, so he's not taking away the pull-up jump shot or the lob. So I don't know if that's schematically or if that's one individual player not carrying out scouting report. Toussaint, we're going under the screen, but you can never go 2-man removed. You got to go 1-man removed under the screen. So I don't know if that's schematically because we're not in the huddle or if that's just lack of execution. I just know in the past, any ball screen set against WVU, guess what's happening? We're blitzing it and we're double teaming it and we're going to be the aggressor. And so like I said, it goes back to what's our identity? What are we doing?
That's so true. It's so different when it used to be. Like I was at Georgetown and we ran all our backdoor Princeton stuff. It was hard to get the offense started. They bumped us off our routes. You know what I mean? They knew where we were going. They bumped us off our routes. There was no easy dribble handoffs. Everything was hard. Everything was hard. Now everything is easy.
That was comfortable. Those 4 plays we didn't call were comfortable.
Right. And our offense is way more sophisticated than this what we're seeing now. All it is a dribble handoff, turn the corner. You know what I mean? Not even down screen to a dribble handoff. We did everything. You showed too much. We hedged and had a guy open and dive to center. And if you dive to center, there was 2 guys in there. He made the skip pass. The guy was there. Right now, it's just if one play, guys getting to the basket. One play, guy getting to the basket. Before, you had to use the whole clock to hope you get something good off against West Virginia. Now, it's just like anything people do now is just getting the shots off.
All right.
Clean, open.
So, Tim, let's look at it this way. I don't want to show any more video because we don't need to see any more video. We've seen enough. Okay, let's talk about tonight and with what Oklahoma State coming in here in the Mountaineers. You've already broken down to Oklahoma State. But what do you want to see, and from who you really want to see step up, or feel like they need to step up? My thing is this. I'll give you an example. I think Oquanko and Wagi or Sumanik or Jimmy Bell work together. I just need to pound those big guys and let the outside guys. They better be on shooting. They better be on somebody else's court. Tim, what's your thing for tonight?
Depending upon how it plays out on the guard side of it and also on the inside. I mean, we haven't gotten any support off the bench with these guys, and I don't know if it's the rotation. What Darryl's talked about, what Jarrod's talked about, as far as getting these guys into the game. If no one's stepping up like a Bell or somebody like that or a Matthews, get somebody off the bench. Try something and do something new. Don't do the same damn thing we've been doing. I think the rotation is a big thing, and we've got some talent on the bench, and we need to utilize that.
Jay West, I'm thinking like this. Hey, Oquanko, I don't care what you do, just go out and hit somebody. I mean, and I'm talking about in terms of making sense in basketball. But it's like, dude, you got nothing to lose. Just go play your best. Just go out there, be physical. Sumanek, just go play your best. If Jimmy Bell's not ringing the bell, man, the basket, then let these other kids have a chance. I'm serious. I just don't understand why you're not winning.
No,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've seen enough sample size to know Big O has to get his 18 to 20 minutes. Sumnik is just like a little version of Big. Like those guys, you got to give those guys 16 to 20 minutes because, like I've said, they both are like a young Marcus Goree. Prue will tell you, Tim will tell you. Anytime you got high energy guys on the floor that want to play and they're rebounding and running the floor and you don't have to run a play for them, okay? So my thing is this: all they have to do is set a ball, just like the clip we just saw for Oklahoma State. Set a ball screen, rim run, catch a lob, get an offensive rebound. If we're not going to feed Bell the ball, every big that comes off the bench is better than him. From a defensive standpoint, blocking shots, rim running, being an athlete. So that's why I said, in my opinion, it's imperative to give Bell the ball the first 2 possessions to see where he is. Once if Emmett's not going to compete, if Mitchell's not going to compete, you got to put those other guys in because we're desperate. And guess what those young bucks do? They play desperate. Like they play like their last meal depends on how hard they play. So as a coach, I know I can trust one thing. I can trust their energy and their effort. So I mean that's what I see.
And I don't think they've been I don't think that they've been tainted. Yes, you know what I mean.
Right,
Like,
no, they play
you're not going
hard.
to see them quit. They
Yeah.
may screw up. Again, that goes back to what we said the last game is that they may screw up, but can you live with that for the great effort that they'll give you? And at least when they block shots and they pin shots against the board, that gets the crowd fired
I was
up.
just going to say the most important thing, Wolf. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Those guys are all crowd favorites because they play hard and they block shots. So that's going to create even more energy, especially at home. Now on the road, that energy can backfire a little bit, but at home, that energy it's infused, it's contagious.
What you got to stop, what you got to stop doing is when they do make a mistake, take them out. They got to learn how to play through that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Every time you take them out, they give you 5 good minutes of playing hard or doing things, and they make one small mistake. Can't take them out. You know what I mean? Because what's going to happen? That ruins their confidence. They can play through it. If they can play through their mistakes, like some people can play through their mistakes, they'll be a whole lot better. I mean, that's just basketball. You know, they're going to make mistakes. You know, just how you handle it. You know, we coach kids that used to make mistakes, but some other people get more leeway doing the same thing or worse. You know what I mean? And and the kids know that. You know, we're going to have them kids for next year. You know, so everybody else is leaving this year. So we want to do everything you can to try.
You want to have them for next year.
Yeah, you want to have them for next year because I'd rather have a Wilson next year. You know, is Johnson coming back next year? He's a senior, right?
He's done.
Yeah, so I'd rather have a base with Wagoo, Simnick, whatever his name, and Wilson. That's a good little base. You know what I mean? Then you got to find out. You will get some freshmen. You will get some, a portal guy here too. But I wouldn't get 6 portal guys no more.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josiah Harris to me looks like he's got potential there, and a couple other guys. I will tell you this though.
Manhattan too will be there.
Yeah, right. And I'll tell you this other thing too. By next year, maybe you'll have their names figured out.
Yeah, if they play them a little bit more.
Yeah. All right.
Hopefully we get who's the other guy?
We're not done yet because the seriousness, because I do think this one question has to be answered. What I saw Saturday in front of that was a sellout crowd with the record that the Mountaineers have, and even though it's Big 12 play, that baby was rocking, and when your team doesn't come out with a ton of energy, I think we all say it wasn't great energy. We can at least go with that. Is the fans owed more? Are the fans that come out there, they support like that? Are they owed more to where this game is like, I don't care what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there with energy. Tim, go ahead.
As I said before, if you can't go out in front of that crowd and get pumped up, and I don't care how tired you are or what you have to do to win, you do it. I mean, until you get out on that court in front of that crowd, sold out crowd, it means the world to. I know it meant the world to me as far as playing out there. And if they can't get pumped up for that, then they can't get pumped up for anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about you, Jay West?
That was absolute bullshit. Okay, I said it. No.
I've been waiting to say that for a while.
You know how I feel about our crowd. I've said it several times. WVU fans are the best in the world. I had a personal relationship with the fans. I always got them pumped up, and they got me pumped up. So I made it my personal concern to play to the best of my ability. One thing I will never question makes or misses. You can't control that. But when I see Emmett, who I like a lot, when I see Mitchell, I don't know him very well, but when you see those kids not play to the hardest they can, I have an issue with it. I don't like that. That's why I like Big O, Wagoo, Sumnick. Those kids, they play hard. So to say, does the crowd deserve better? That's an interesting question. I get what you're trying to say. Yes, if you're playing college basketball and you're not maximizing your effort, I'm going to have a major problem with you. So to see a missed box out on the free throw line, I totally get where Hugs is coming from. You can't have that. To see a miscommunication throwing the ball in bounds, and that's not the first time we've seen Mitchell against Texas. He just caught the ball and just throwing the ball. Those are just lack of focus. You can't do that, especially as 5th-year seniors. So to answer your question, does the crowd deserve better, especially playing in a desperate game 4-10? I would say yes, I do. think that they got to play harder and understand. They got to match the intensity of the crowd.
Yeah. And before you, DP, I just want to say this one thing. I think because of their transfer history, and they don't know the history.
I agree.
WVU, or the fortitude of what you guys put in. And he could say the same thing. All the tears, the sweat, the blood, all the broken noses, Tim Kearney. Okay, all that stuff. They don't know because they don't know the history. And I'm not saying that's their fault. I'm saying that's the problem. We all know it. DP, finish up, man. Tell me what your thoughts are. Do they deserve better effort?
I mean, think about this. Beeline had a finesse team, and they played harder than them. They had a finesse team. They shot a whole bunch of threes, didn't rebound well on the defensive end, but they played hard. I got mad one time we played up there, Gans and them played, and you might have been there. You might have been gone, Jarrod. And I wasn't on the bench at the time. I was in the stand. I came down in the locker room. I cussed our players out at Georgetown. I said, they play harder than you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm like, they just play harder. Gansey and them just play hard. It was Gansey more talented than, Jeff Green, Roy Hibbert, DeJuan Summers. No. But they just play hard. The captain team played hard. You know what I mean? Like, when y'all made y'all run, y'all played hard. You know what I mean? Then all the Huggies teams played hard. These last 2 years, when you get 6 people from 6 different places,
Yep.
it's like having this is like having a wife or a girlfriend. They got 6 different kids. You get other people's problems. You know what I mean? And that's what it is.
You had to go there.
I had to go
Well,
there.
he made this a rated R so quick.
Because it's other people's problems. It's they came from other teams for whatever reason they came for because they ran from something else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the fans of West Virginia do deserve more than this. These kids can go lose and go out and people praise them and all this stuff and they get all this stuff. We still come back in town 30 years later and get, people still remember and praise you. And this is how you treat them. You want to give them an honest effort. You know what I mean? This all we want is an honest effort. You know what I mean? The fans need more. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we can't keep on blaming this person, that coach, this and that. When you out there playing, you got to play. It's no excuse. There's no shot restrictions. You know what I mean? There's nobody telling you. You got to play. It's called pride, and they're not playing with no pride.
And just a real quick story, Dale. This is a quick one. In 1982, NCAA's out in Logan, Utah. We were 1 game away from playing Georgetown, and I went up to Coach Catlett. I said, we get past San Jose, which for some reason we didn't. And we played Georgetown. I said, put me in the game for 4 minutes. I'll make sure I get Patrick Ewing to punch me in the face and get him thrown out of the damn game. That's how I play.
That's funny, Tim, because when I played the All-Star game, they sent a guy on a scrub out to get me thrown out of the game, but I didn't fall for it. I did not punch him back.
The only problem with that, Tim, it wasn't just.
Well, you're not a scrub though, Tim, either. That's the other problem.
It wasn't just Pat you had to deal with. They had a whole lot of gangsters on that team.
No, trust. I know. I actually played against Michael Jackson in a summer league game. I set a pick on him and knocked him right on his ass. He jumped up and wanted to start the fight. He jumps up. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. I thought I can't remember. Were you an All-American?" He got pissed off and didn't know what to say.
Well, you know what, Tim? I don't think you've ever backed down on anybody in the court. And you or your predecessor, we'll just put him in there because he was on the show, Phil Collins.
He punched me a couple times.
I got you. And with that being said, gentlemen, I'm going to just say one last thing. Pride. I think you came up with the word.
Yeah.
Mountaineer pride.
Right.
It has to be found once again. And that Mountaineer pride equates into finding a way to win. It equates into finding a way to hustle. It equates into finding a way to have more energy than your opponents. It equates to finding ways to get that loose ball, whether it be on the court, whether it be off the basket, in the air, whatever. I think that's what Mountaineer pride is. And I'm probably selling it way short. You guys have come up with so much more. But I think that's what we're saying. Quick words, Jay West, finish it off.
desperation game tonight. You know, can't say it's a win or go home game because you have other games, but definitely desperation. If we don't win this game tonight, I think we definitely had to win at least 1 or 2 on the road and win 2 in the tournament. You know, you can't be 4-10, 4-11, and think you're gonna get in. So we got to play. We got to play. It's desperation. Win or go home tonight. And like I said at the beginning, who's gonna lead and who's gonna step up? It's gonna come down to leadership tonight.
All right, Tim Kearney.
I totally agree. If you can't do it in front of your home crowd, you can't do it anywhere. Play
Right.
for the Mountaineers.
DP, excellent. Short words, but excellent, Timmy.
And just gotta want to, you know, in this day and age, we don't want to. We want to be on everything else, social media. We gotta want to be tough.
When I raised my hand, Prue, that's what I was gonna say. Wolf, that's what I was gonna say. This is a generational thing. It's not just WVU that having people playing hard or competing. It's a generational AAU thing. It's different. I ain't gonna get on that. That's a different conversation, but
Yeah,
it's different.
Lori Evans Smith said, "Pride in your
Right in
stride."
your stride. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Pride in your stride. I'll tell you what, my stride wasn't as long as yours, but I'll tell you what, I was quick. I was as an offensive lineman, baby. All right, listen, guys.
That should be a banner they need to put up in the Coliseum. Pride in your stride.
There you go. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Our legends, we are done. Let's go. Let's go beat Oklahoma State. The Cowboys, I never, ever liked them. All right? And it doesn't matter. We'll see you later. Thank you, gentlemen.
I hate their colors. They suck.
Wait a minute. I screwed this up already. There's the volume.
I will give everything.
You know what? I like the song so much. We're starting.
Destined for greatness. My name is written in stars. And I will give everything. All that I have to the cause. Fight against evil, run through the pain. Battle all this is more than a game. I am a lion and can't be tamed. It's how it was made. There's ice in my veins, run through it all. No matter the odds, we'll answer a call. The enemy knocks on the door. Even the greatest among us will fall, but the greatest will get back up. So I won't back down, and I won't give up. And I will act now, and I will stand up. They know that I'm here for it all.
We're out.
Rise up. No matter what's in my way, rise up. I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up. No matter what's in my way, rise up. I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Par-Mar store. From gas to grocery, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Par-Mar stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Par-Mar app and sign up for the Par-Mar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Par-Mar stores, and remember, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Wilson Martino Dental. Did you know that 95% of our dentists have graduated from WVU? And many former players and WVU coaches trust Wilson Martino Dental with their oral health. The Mountaineers and Wilson Martino Dental. Yeah, we do that.